That felt a bit weird. Oh god. I just hit record for the first time in a long time. I feel like I haven't done one of these in a week, but actually it's been, I think, close to a month. I also don't know if I'm in focus. I don't know if you can. Hopefully it's all working. I basically just turn this computer on and start recording. Apologies for the lack of updates. Before I go any further, if you want to just listen to this rather than watch me sit here in my like Bond layer with this top that's got like an awkwardly high neck that makes me, it's almost like a polo neck. It's very strange. You can podcast link description thing. I quite enjoy doing this actually. Now that I've just started, I quite enjoy doing it. But 5 minutes ago, I was incredibly overwhelmed and stressed, and still am, to be honest. And there's a lot to talk about, so apologies if this is quite long. But I put on my list that I had to do this today, and although I've just so much to do, no one else is in today apart from me, and I'm probably just gonna, cry. I was like, fuck, I just have to start making this a regular commitment. I guess I got into the feeling that this whole thing was linked to like the big 20 years of training Jump London anniversary project thing, but it shouldn't be. I don't think. I think it is better for me, even just mentally, to do this more regularly, rather than try and link it to a specific project. I think it's actually just a healthier exercise, and also I think some people are enjoying it. I've got a fucking savage rip on my hand and it's really sore. I was actually thinking this morning, because I journal every morning when I wake up. I try and do it first thing. Sometimes I forget, but sometimes it quite often turns into like almost a bit of an extended to-do list. Like, oh, this is what I should be doing. This is what I should be doing. It's always a bit like, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do, rather than reflection. And then writing this out when I was eating earlier, I was like, this is kind of better reflection. So where are we at? Time. I've got my notes on this screen, by the way. Time is the thing that I'm shortest of right now. Like, I feel just really, really torn with where I should and want to be spending my time. I want to be spending my time in many other places to where I should be spending my time, just because of where I need to be working. Like, for example, today I've got to sort all the orders out because no one else is in, and we've had this huge launch, and it's a lot. Sarah had half term off because she's a teacher last week, and she went down to see her parents and took Daisy, and I stayed back to work and get this whole collection prepped, which was, I think, the correct choice. But I am very, very aware that I want to be being more present for Daisy and Sarah. Yesterday, for example, was Monday, and I had 4 hours sleep because we drove back from Belgium and I was exhausted. So I think the smart thing to do was stay home with Daisy, but I specifically wanted to just actually spend time with my daughter, and I don't feel guilty about that, but I also feel like I need to have more things in place here so that things keep moving when I'm not around. Not that anyone was here anyway, because Bloggy was still in Belgium and Keelan's seeing his parents. Bloggy, if you saw, broke his finger, which is going to cause some issues with some other stuff. Well, we think it will. It depends on his surgery. But yeah, I fucking, time is the thing where I feel like I get in here and I'm just stressed because I feel like I wake up at fucking 5 or 6, but then I'm immediately dealing with baby stuff. Then I take the dog out. Then I have some food, and then I fucking hate showering. I love showering. It feels great, but I'm not one of those people who has to shower every day. It's nice. But the problem I found is you go for a dog walk, like you get dressed, you go for a dog walk, then you sweat, and then you're like, oh, well, I want to shower, but I'm already dressed, I'm already up. Showering feels like going in reverse and like taking a step back. Whereas a lot of the time I'll just sometimes I don't even eat, I'll just come to the office. But this morning, for example, I showered, and it just feels like I've just added like an extra 20 minutes, however long that process is, just delaying getting here and doing some work. And then in the evenings, I feel like I need to be present. I need to be a good partner and a good father. So it's time. Sorry, that was a weird ramble, wasn't it? Where are we at? I can't remember the last video. I think it was the wholesale one. It's all set up. Haven't had any bites yet. I had a number of conversations with people kind of pre-doing it, and then as I set it up, no one has yet to actually sort of, commit to placing an order or anything like this, which is everyone's got their own situations, especially other businesses. I think I need to take that a step further and do some like actual personal reaching out and speaking to people rather than just like I haven't really pushed it. We put one thing on Instagram, I haven't sent any emails or anything, so I can't expect anything, but it's there and it's ready for sort of that to take place. Right now it has just been, the last few weeks have just been like fucking go, like get this collection sorted, and then we're already sorting other things that we've got coming up in the next few weeks, and obviously we're in Q4, so it's like we've got November, Black Friday, Christmas sales, etc. To be honest, October was like kind of slumpy, kind of like slow for sales for the most part, and then really ramped up at the end due to the jam and the launch and everything like that. I think it is hard when you say you're going to launch something, you do see a slowdown because people then wait because they're like, well, I may as well if I'm going to get something. I think the product is really good. A lot of people really like the look of it. So sales have been pretty good. I feel like I keep seeing my mic peaking. Apologies if this is really crunchy. I don't think I'm speaking that loudly. But yeah, so October was like slow and then actually ended up being fine in the last sort of week or so. It's been a really nice test to test this whole, like, this is the first proper launch where we've done this like revenue. This is really, fuck. Why is my audio coming in at 8 decibels higher? Let me see if I can turn this thing down a little bit. Hello. Sorry if that's been horrendous to listen to. I'm not going to re-edit it I'm not going to change it unless it's like, I won't upload it if it's shit. Yeah, this has been the first launch where it's been really like we've properly tested this like sort of like the revenue split thing with Charlie behind Fallen, and I can safely say it's going to pay out to him more than it would if we were just paying like a designer fee. Well, I say a designer fee, a parkour designer fee, because what we've historically found with parkour designers is they're like, oh yeah, here you go, just put all this time and effort into this, I'll charge you 50 quid, which is kind of great for us, but also is not how it should be. It also means that like we've obviously just had the big launch, that will be like undoubtedly the biggest kind of revenue payout to him, but even in like 2-3 months time, he'll still be getting like just essentially like passive income, I guess, if those products continue to sell, which is cool. And I guess you might be thinking like, oh, well, how is that good if you've got cash flow issues that you're effectively paying out more? But we've kind of worked it into the product's margins, which is why the products are slightly more expensive than normal. Maybe they're not that like crazy expensive, but we've allocated for it, and it feels like it's like. It's the right thing to do, in my opinion. I want to use this brand to support people within the parkour community. And if I can do it this way and if I can support creators, then fucking great. Where else are we going? The Jam was a really nice event. Nice ender to the month. Good ticket sales. We had a pop-up there, which was like pretty decent. A card machine wouldn't work due to just, border, all that shit. They just don't work unless you have like existing things set up in Europe. So I'm now sitting on a load of euros that I don't know what to do with, because the nearest bank is like, well, the nearest all the banks have gone, haven't they? It's all online. But like when you actually have cash or euros, you want to go. I used to go and pay them into Barclays, but now the nearest Barclays is like an hour round trip from me. I went to the post office yesterday and the conversion rate is just awful. It's like just so bad that it wasn't worth doing. But no, it was cool. It was good to connect with a lot of people. Not that many people dressed up because people are losers, but we dressed up and it was great fun. Did some good training and we got another video out of it, which is cool. One thing we definitely need to do actually, and there'll probably be some listeners to this who weren't aware of this, is, see, now I'm worried that I'm speaking too quietly. Let me crank this a tiny bit more. Our European customers no longer have to pay import tax. Brexit introduced this like import, where it caused European customers to need to pay import, but we basically worked out, well, there's a way to get around it. You don't get around it. We basically pay the import tax for them in the same way that we pay VAT in the UK. So it's just extended that like tax thing, which once again, you're probably saying, well, if you're paying more in tax, then surely that's not good for cash flow. But the revenue drop we got from the lack of sales from European customers who were wary about paying tax, like, it offsets itself, because now we can get more European sales. But I think we could promo that better. It is on the website, but I think I probably need to make it front and center for a while, because a lot of people in Belgium were like, oh, this is the only opportunity to buy stuff because I don't want to pay tax. And it's like, no, you don't have to anymore, up until 150 euros, but most people don't. Our AOV isn't that high. We had our YouTube payout, like the first big one we've ever had from that story video that blew up. That was nice, although basically just was eaten up by standard outgoings and overdue invoices and things like that. So, I mean, not that it all got pissed away, but like, it's very easy to kind of quickly just go, oh, bye, for quite large sums of money. I've got in here Etrafort shutting down, because I don't think I spoke about that last time. I can't remember when they announced it, but that was gave me a lot to think about, because they've obviously been around for a decade, longer than Motus, and have obviously been very, very established, and I think have probably just suffered similar things to what we have. Probably not as many fuck-ups, because they're probably not as incompetent as me, but just cash flow, etc. And I've obviously just said, look, the horizon is only going so far for this thing, so let's duck out at a good time rather than like fizzling out, I guess. It did give me a lot to think about, because it was like, well, is that what I should have done? Should I do that? I don't want to. No part of me wants to, really. The only part that makes me think that way is like stable personal income would be nice, because it is hard. Like, it's fucking hard. But every other part is like, I would rather continue to build this, and I see more potential in this from a fulfillment and impact and everything else, and the money is just another factor of that. But we'll see. Don't particularly want to go that way, but yeah. Keelan's continuing to kill it with weekly videos. Really, really cool. He's really grafting on them, and although they're not like blowing up view wise, the comments are echoing exactly what we want to see, which is just people kind of reconnecting with us and reconnecting with our content, which I think it's just that long tail of marketing, effectively, to put it very simply, as it builds those like trusting potential customers who then, when the correct launch or product comes along, they'll be more inclined to purchase from us. Obviously, if we can build this to a stage where there is good revenue coming from that, then fucking great, and we will do bits here and there to try and push in that direction, but we're not just suddenly going to try and go, clickbait viral. It's just, at the moment, it's like we just want to train and we want to film it, and we're just trying to streamline that and reconnect with people, which I think is going really well. I've got printing orders is going to be the thing I hate at the moment. Yeah, because I think most of you are probably aware, but we do a huge amount of actual like product creation, fulfillment, production in-house. Bloggy's now fucking in a cast and about to have surgery, so it's probably going to be on my head for a while, and this month is going to be undoubtedly the busiest of in-house production we've ever had, because it's building up to Christmas, Black Friday. We've got the launch that's just gone. We've got another thing in 10 days time with Ethan and Noah. They're releasing a short film that they filmed with Ethan that actually we're going to sell. There'll be more details on that coming out soon, and some t-shirts, and then ideally we've got another collection coming out for Black Friday itself, plus obviously the Black Friday sales, and a lot of that is going to be on my head, which is it very much is working in the business rather than working on the business, which is not somewhere I would like to be, but at the moment it's just I think it's just where I'm going to have to be, and it sucks. But the other option is to, try and pay someone to do it, but then it's that would be a real kind of cash eater. That's the big stressor, is when I'm working on things like that rather than working on things like thinking in the future. Like, I'm just working in the present, not thinking about, okay, well, how are we gonna keep revenue up in January or whatever, what things can we do, that's where shit gets sort of, I get stressed. Like, before starting this, I was really just getting antsy, because I'd been thinking about all these notes and thinking about all the things where I'm struggling, and it kind of got in my head a bit. one big fucking nightmare that we're currently just sitting in and still yet to really get out of. It's not, is it a nightmare? I don't know. I think last time I was like, oh yeah, the factories from the last place, the new place we found are pretty decent, and they are, because they copied Bloggy's, and we'd sent pre-existing stuff that Bloggy had made that was really, really good. The downside, as we started to look at them a little bit more closely, is that alongside the samples, Bloggy sent his patterns, which is like the formal way to do it. You make these patterns, which are like, exact pieces of paper and measurements and blah, 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 to follow. And the factory clearly has just not actually followed them. They've done what a lot of Chinese factories do, because this is the way they work, I guess. They take, I don't know, I could send them a hoodie that I've bought from Carhartt and just say copy that. They're used to basically copying and pasting stuff and making tweaks, whereas we try to send them like, here's the exact formula to do this from scratch so that it's perfect. They copied Bloggy's thing, which he had copied from his patterns, so it was close, but they weren't as good as the potential if they'd copied the patterns. They definitely cut a few corners just with regards to little things like that, which you can always expect. The biggest fuck up though is that they have just lost the patterns, and these are like one of one things that Bloggy has created. And you're probably asking, why wouldn't you make duplicates? But it's not that simple or not that straightforward. I'm not sure, but I don't think, as far as Bloggy says, you don't make duplicates, because I think typically we probably should have somehow made them. I don't know. But yeah, they've lost them. I think they probably just fucking binned them, because I think this factory probably just went, yeah, we'll just copy these products that have been sent to us. We don't need these, and just chucked them. But they're technically incredibly valuable, and he put hours into them, so he's obviously pissed. The company that we were potentially moving forward with, I'm now like, do we even need to? Because all they are is a middleman. They're an English-speaking middleman who charge a fee to do stuff that we effectively could do ourselves. And if effectively all they're going to do is just take what we send them and send it off to the factory, and then half the shit we tell them is going to get ignored anyway, it's like, well, we may as well just build our own relationship. There's a few Chinese factories we know of, like there's a few good factories we know of that we're potentially, I don't know, it's all a bit up in the air. But yeah, it's just a bit of a nightmare. The biggest thing that a lot of people probably are like, haha, predicted this, is that the whole Jump London documentary photo book effectively hasn't moved very far, other than in my head. I have spent the last couple of weeks kind of lightly reaching out to people, trying to organise some interviews, like prelim interviews. But people are busy, and also I've been busy, and it's been very easy for me to just be like, essentially, it shouldn't be easy for me. It should. What am I saying? I've just basically put things off and delayed things because I've been focusing more on the now than thinking about the future. The downside of that is I'm very aware that unless I start soon, nothing's going to fucking get done, and I need to start just chipping. Like, I keep just telling myself, oh, I'll do it when I've got a bit more time, but I'm not going to have any more time. So I need to just start making things happen in little windows and just start chipping, because otherwise it's going to go nowhere. In an ideal world, I would, have a load of money that I could throw at it, and I'd pay someone to effectively manage the whole thing. Or like, sorry, I'm just picking my nose on video. Manage the whole thing, or free up some of my own time so that I can manage more of it. There's some things I'm a lot less stressed about. The documentary is the biggest stressor, because that is the biggest time commitment thing, and the clothing, obviously. But the clothing is kind of, I don't fucking know, actually. No, it needs to happen. But yeah, the biggest sort of takeaway is that I need to just start making time. I need to just find that. It's not finding time, it's making time. That is literally it. And then I've just got here on the bottom of this, it's like, we also need to shoot our Black Friday campaign and prep all of that. And there's just a fucking lot to do. There really, really is. And it's a lot. It is a lot. It gets in my head quite a lot, because then, as I said at the start, I do, my relationship with Daisy is just, well, not really my relationship, my experience with Daisy is just in utter awe, and I love her, and she is progressing so fast, and when I'm around her, all I want to do is just be as present as possible and spend that time. So I'm really trying not to, be trying to tap away at my laptop when she's in the room and things, because every 2 seconds it feels like she's just progressing and aging, and it's like everything's moving so quickly that I don't want to take it for granted. And it's so cool. So yeah, it's just this giant balance. But yeah, this was, probably a bit depressing to listen to and maybe a bit boring, but I will leave it there. Hopefully it wasn't too fucking loud at the start, and I now need to go and just sort orders out for the rest of my life. So if you have ordered something, I'll get it to you ASAP. And if you haven't, please go buy something, because it helps everything. Wow, I feel really positive right now. Love you. Bye. How do I stop? Oh, there. Bye. Love you.